All right. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. It's another Friday, you know.
I hear you.
I'll introduce everybody for those who don't recall. This is Blake Cooley, he's the chief executive over at the Dreaming Company, piloting all of the management and retail fulfillment, et cetera, of the Hygieia skincare line. Got some pretty good updates. I thought it would be a good idea to give everyone a kind of a brief overview or a recap of last year and what we're looking forward to this year. We're going to be doing a call with each C-level individual in each subsidiary and just give all the shareholders just a quick update as to where we are on each individual company and what can be expected this year and what are our thoughts of last year. So, Blake, if you want to take it away, I think the main thing here is I think it's a good idea to start with a recap of last year. You guys had an outstanding first year, and I thought maybe you could share some of those statistics.
Yeah, last year was the first full calendar year for the Hygieia Skin projects. We saw some really good KPIs in 2020. So, we
for
really
those who don't know what that means, the shareholders, what's a KPI? Just, explain some of that.
Key performance indicators, just growth potential, demand in the market, stuff like that. So, because we originally launched May of 2020, pretty much in the middle of lockdowns and pandemics and stuff, but the year went good enough where we decided to allocate some resources to it for 2021. We gave it a really hard push forward, and we did very well. It was a 7-figure year, for your first calendar year. That's usually a good sign that you got a product people like. Mm-hmm. It's growing. We did almost 15,000 orders. We sold over 20-some thousand units, in the first full year. I think that's great. During that time, we spent a considerable amount of money on branding, developing the brand mission statement, which you can now see on the homepage and the about page of our website. We really kind of honed in on, who is Hygieia Skin? What's our mission? Who are we after? That was a pretty expensive endeavor. We hired a really fancy PR firm out of LA to help us kind of fine tune that. And then based on that,
firm's well known too. That's a pretty big firm in the industry for cosmetics and skincare. They've worked with
they have a lot of
top
major clients.
Brands.
Yeah. So we were lucky to have that opportunity to work with them, and I think they really knocked it out of the park. So now we're going to start working on rebranding the packaging with the new logos and stuff like that, which will come, little by little. You just have to remember we have the inventory spread out across a dozen warehouses or so. So it's not just as simple as printing things out, because people want to get what they saw they bought on the website. So that's a bit of a complicated thing. But we also rebuilt the website in Q4 of last year, which has led to a 45% higher conversion rate, a higher average order value, 22% higher, as a matter of fact. And then, of course, this month to date, compared to the same period of time last year, we're up 207% sales wise, which is wonderful. I mean, January is one of the slower months of the year for skincare, and really the holiday season in general. People don't buy things for themselves typically in most income groups, across this time of year. So it's going to really start to pick up, here in about 2 to 3 weeks. And hopefully we can continue this growth cycle, which would lead to a very lucrative year, for the skincare project. So we have 3 new products that we're going to be advertising this year that we weren't advertising last year: firming cream, the wrinkle cream, and of course the dark spot diminisher cream, which we did advertise for about half of last year, but now it's really been matured in terms of product reviews, repeat business, things like that. So, we are expecting to hit some pretty lofty goals this year. We're going to be expanding into some other skincare related, beauty related type stuff. We got some prototypes here that are pretty exciting that hopefully we can start to roll out in Q2 and Q3. But I mean, overall, I think our growth projections are on track, and I see no reason why this thing is not going to keep going like a runaway freight train.
Right, and it's important to note too that this is the recap that you covered was for the first full year, but we launched the year before halfway through, and the ramp up and the performance there was just phenomenal. We've had, you and I had this conversation a few times. when you approached me and said, hey, let's launch now in the middle of the pandemic, I was a little concerned, and you guys just absolutely killed it. It was unbelievable, the performance. So for when you look at the average business success rate in launching new products, new product suites in a new company, it's important to note how critical the first 5 years are. But you and I both know, while that might be an industry standard, so the first 5 years, the reality is the first 2 years of business are everything. So it's been an incredible performer, front and back. And the rebranding, the website, for those who haven't gone to the new website, I would highly recommend you go to that website. The Dreaming Company has the tabs, and then you'll end up at hygeaskin.com. And that website has been completely redone. It flows. It's amazing. I remember the first site you did, I thought that was good, right? Yeah. And you worked with some of the new companies that we had brought on board, and it's night and day. It's unbelievable. When you look at the conversion rates, and when you look at how you guys are funneling everyone, the customers from the beginning to end, it's incredible, the performance. And I just as a little note, and I have a call here in a little bit, about 10, 15 minutes, with another company we're bringing on board. We'll be doing an announcement on that. And that is going to be assisting us in revamping all of the websites. And then we'll obviously be consulting with you to make sure that it's in keeping with what we need to do for the proper conversion rates. Each company is different, right? So a company that's performing and delivering in the skincare sector is not necessarily going to have the same needs or requirements as a more of an institutional or municipality water treatment company, right? So that we're going to be kind of fine tuning and customizing everything. So yeah, so this year you're going to be launching a couple new products, as you mentioned, and you're going to be, your expectations are as far as performance go, is that you're going to see an incremental but also exponentially increased performance over the full suite of products. Is that correct?
Yeah, one of the biggest things to pay attention to in e-commerce is, of course, your repeat customer rate, because that's really the key to success. I mean, advertising, getting new sales, that's fine. But if you don't have a quality product, people aren't going to come back and buy. And that's really where you become super profitable. And so to me, the biggest KPI is Q4 of last year. Our repeat customer rate was up 102% compared to the year before, right?
Yeah.
And even Q1 so far of this year, it's up 80%. So that tells me we're making good products that people like. They're going to keep coming back and buying them. And then every time we're releasing new products, obviously, those customers are excited about that. And it helps us, really deliver on our promise, as a brand.
Right. And one thing I'll say is that everyone here uses the products and everyone loves them. So, it's interesting to see, when you do it internally, everyone, you always think maybe people are biased, right? Because they're on the team, right? But then when you get that feedback from outside of the team, it really is incredible. One thing I wanted to kind of explain that you touched on is the fulfillment apparatus that you've built for Hygieia Skin, and that all companies are going to be following in the retail sector. So we will have some resources locally that will be fulfilling locally. But what you did is you brought in an outside or third party fulfillment apparatus spread throughout the entire country. And that has been not only helpful in delivering products, I think it was same day or next day. That was something you were working on. It was same day, next day, but also for us, just for an inventory management, getting those certified audits is important to have it in these certified fulfillment centers. So it actually helps us get those things done too. So
yeah, I mean, just in the past 30 days alone, it's estimated through their system that our sales were 15.7% higher as a result of being able to offer free 2 and 3 day shipping. In this Amazon world where everyone expects that if you can't do it, you're pretty much dead in the water, right?
Yeah, nobody wants.
And really, yeah, the only way to accomplish that is to work with a 3PL who has 20 some warehouses across the country where you can spread out your inventory so that no matter where someone lives, they're never more than a couple hours, a few hours drive from one of your locations. So I mean, it was challenging setting it up in the beginning, but you got to realize I'm an internet marketer, right? So 15% higher sales is like gold. I mean, that's pure profit to your bottom line. You can't even, fathom how much more important that is. So, I mean, yeah, it's been working out great for us.
Well, last year, I think across the entire company was about, and I said this to the shareholders many times, I think most of them get it. We've got a few that are, I guess, either are new or kind of onboarding a little bit. But it's important to note that last year for us was all about laying the groundwork, and it was all about setting up a foundation for us to build on, so that when we go into 2022, we could focus strictly on revenues. And if you don't have the foundation laid, you don't have all these tools in place, then you can't really grow at the rate we want to grow and target the things that we're targeting. We're not going to get into specifics here. That's more of an internal thing, but we have some pretty lofty goals as far as where we want to be in the next couple of years, at least by 2025. So in order to do that, you have to have things in place. And last year, I would think from a performance point of view, as far as the public company is concerned, or the holding company, the performance has been night and day from any previous year. It was a historic year for us. And I think that's trickling down, or maybe trickling up, right, from the subsidiaries, because it's really important to see, and people are going to get a little more insight into this as we do these videos. And we've got some press releases coming up that will really highlight just how far each company has come and what we've been doing in the background. Towards the end of last year, we had put out some information, but I think people are starting to realize what you hear about today, we were working on a year, in some instances 2 years previously, right? So it's people are starting to pick up on that. I'm getting a lot of phone calls and messages from people that are kind of conveying that to me, and they're starting to get that. We've got unbelievable shareholders. They're incredibly supportive. So, sure. All right. I think that's a really good recap. If there's anything else you want to touch on, let me know. I've got to run. I've got to get on a call with the next company. We'll be doing a release on that as well. And then I'm also going to give you an update on that. We'll talk offline. I've got to give you an update on that company and where we're going to be headed. All right. So
sounds good.
I appreciate making the time on a Friday for us. And I got a lot scheduled today. So I'll let you go and circle back. Thanks, Blake.
Take care.